2023 Major League Baseball season here on NYY Recaps. The Yankees are set to kick off spring training as they begin their quest for the ever more elusive championship number 28. Tonight, NYY Recaps kicks off its fourth season of coverage as I'm joined by two very special guests live in studio, Pete Simonetti of NYY News TV and Frankie Baseball, content creator and longtime contributor to this channel. Tonight, we'll make some Yankees over-under predictions, and we'll hear from you, the Yankees fans. It all starts right now. Welcome to NYY Recaps 2023 season kickoff.
Welcome.
Welcome back, everybody. Season 4 of NYY Recaps. And this is going to be a new tradition here on this channel, kicking off every season, Friday before pitchers and catchers report, and doing some Yankees over-unders. Joining me tonight, two very special guests. First, I would like to introduce the creator of NYY News TV, an all-service Yankees channel that does watch parties every day, reactions, rumors, a whole bunch of different hosts and programming, Mr. Pete Simonetti. Oh! How you doing, Pete?
I'll put that I guess I got to live up to the Italian. Oh! What's going on, Derek? How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm ready for baseball season. I know you're chomping at the bit, too. I also want to introduce Frankie. Frankie Baseball, longtime contributor to this channel. Welcome, Frankie.
Derek, it is so good to be here. As I said on Twitter when you first announced this, I am honored to be the Bill Cartwright to the Jordan and Pippen that you two are for this show. I am so happy
stop.
You need to shut Frank, you get there it is. Frank, you get the little the Godfather little horn going on there. I like it.
Derek knows that's my favorite movie of all time. So.
Yeah, it's a movie thing. I know he's a movie guy. I'm a movie guy.
I'm a movie guy. We have fun.
You know, when people come on this channel, I want them to feel at home. I want them to feel like I put in the time to honor them as creators, and I appreciate all the work that you guys do. The reason you guys are on is because you grind pretty much every day, and that's not something that's easy to do over a baseball season, 162 games. So tonight, we are going to start out. We've got some over-unders, about 15 of them. Frankie's going to read them. Pete will go first, then I will follow up. After that, we'll talk about the possibility of moves that could still take place. Max Kepler and Brian Reynolds. Pete's been doing a lot of research on that. I'm going to let him kind of drive that part. And then we're going to take the voicemails and audience Q&A to close out the show and give you a little preview of our Friday night show. So, Frankie, let's get going with those over-unders.
Is there like a winner? Does the winner get something before I start? Does the winner get something here?
There's not going to be a winner, Frankie. It's over-underers.
I was about to say we gotta wait to the end of the year, my man. I mean,
exactly.
What are we doing?
Of the year, does the winner
I'm
get
not going to
like
remember this when we're watching. We're going to have the parade show at the end of the year. That's what we're going to do.
You know what? I hope we don't remember this because I'll tell you when
I think Pete might have froze up just for a second, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Jose Trevino, let's start us off, Frankie.
All right. So Jose Trevino had a 2.3 WAR last year. Over under 2.3 WAR in 2023.
I am gonna go ahead and say over.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I'll say over. Trevino played 115 games last year with the Yankees. We had no idea if Trevino was going to be the starter for the Yankees. You know, he came in with that little trade with the whole Abreu deal, kind of backing up Higashioka as a work vet wasn't ready. So I think this year, I mean, he's going to be the guy, isn't he? I mean, and look, WAR really likes defense. It's a major part of WAR. He's a platinum Gold Glove winner now. He won the platinum glove, meaning he's the best fielder overall in the American League, however you want to see that. But he won at his position. You know what I mean? And you play this guy all year long. We see that bat come around a bit. He had his best offensive season. I think he's going to be fine. I definitely see him being over that mark this year.
That is correct.
I'm agreeing with you, Pete. I'm agreeing with you. So in my notes, I wrote down essentially the same thing that you did, which is just the games played. I think he's going to play a lot more games this year, frankly. One thing that does concern me a little bit is that it seemed to me, and maybe I'm alone in thinking this, but it seemed like he was kind of gassed at the end of last season. But then again, I don't think he prepared to be the starting catcher for anybody, especially for a pressure cooker like the Yankees. That takes a lot out of you. And by September or so, he was kind of drained, kind of gassed, a lot of adrenaline. I think that this year he's going to be much more prepared. I think he's only going to build on the improvements he made last year offensively. And, I think, they brought in Ben Rortvedt as kind of their number one guy. But he couldn't stay on the field last year. And then when he did come back, he really didn't do anything to warrant pushing for that job this year. So I think it's just going to, again, be Trevino and Higgy. And Higgy clearly being the backup, Trevino's going to get a lot of games played. So that's what we're thinking. All right, Frankie, what you got?
Thank you.
All right, I have over, by the way, as well. Anthony Rizzo tied his career best in home runs last year with 32. Over under 32 and a half home runs this season for Rizzo.
I am going to go with, drum roll, please. I'm going under, unfortunately.
That's tough.
Sorry, everybody. Here's why. So Rizzo, of course, had 32 home runs. He did it a couple of times. He did it in 2014, 2015. He had 31. And then 2 years in a row, 2016, 2017, 32 home runs. Of course, last year he did it in 130 games. So we got to remember, he missed time due to being sick during that time. Of course, had some injuries, some back problems. So for me, when it comes to Anthony Rizzo, it's all about staying on the field. And I'm just not certain that he's going to stay on the field long enough. I love Rizzo. I would love to do my Rizzo call 40 times.
That's a
I
Rizzo.
love doing it. That's a Rizzo. I would love to do that call 40 times if I could. I don't know, man. I'm just not. It has, again, this is nothing to do. 32 home runs is a lot. This guy can get 25 and be an all-star.
Right.
So 32 home runs is a lot. I know it's Yankee Stadium. For this one, I'm taking the under.
That's a Rizzo. So, this is not going to be an entertaining show so far because I'm agreeing with you for the second time in a row. I also took the under. The back is an issue, and I fully expect him to be kind of on and off the IL again just as they try and rest it and manage it. I do think his batting average is going to go back up, though. He hit 224 last year. He was a guy that was heavily affected by the shift, but he also, I feel like he just hit into a lot of, bad luck where he would line the ball right at somebody or smoke one at an outfielder. I feel like he's a 250, 260 hitter this year, probably 27 home runs, which, you know what? I'll take it every day.
Of course.
All right, who else you got, Frankie?
I have under for the same reasons you guys had. Gleyber Torres was one of the most severely impacted players by the shift last year and still hit 257. Over under 270 batting average for Gleyber. And in general, do you think batting average will ever be seen as important again?
For Gleyber Torres, I'm going to go ahead and say under on this one. And I got a couple of different reasons. A couple of different reasons on why I go with the under, and then I'll get to the batting average side. I do think the game is kind of shifting back towards that, but I'll explain that. Gleyber Torres, I don't have confidence in Gleyber anymore, man. He got to make it up to me. I know last year he had a couple of months where his OPS was well over 800. He really looked like that guy he was. I believe it was, am I wrong? 2019, I think it was, 30-some homers.
38.
So 38 home runs. 2019, he's kind of started to return back to that form. Last year, they were playing with 3 different balls also, so who the hell knows, really, what is what, and that kind of got swept under the rug. When it comes to just him on the year, I don't know if we're ever going to see Gleyber have such a high average. Now, people always bring up the shift, and as we did in this question, the shift does make a difference for right-handers also. So people got to understand that. There's a lot of times Gleyber hit balls dead up the middle that was turned into a double play or just a routine out. But I do think baseball is reverting back a little bit to the not so much Joey Gallo guy to you're going to have to see those guys that get on base and steal bags again. Kind of that old school mentality of baseball where guys are batting with a higher average, getting on base, stealing bags. As we know, bases are bigger. Guys can't pick off as much as they used to. It's going to be very interesting. I think you're going to see teams look for those higher batting averages. I just don't know if Glaber's going to be that guy. 270 is good, but Glaber could be a 260 guy and have a phenomenal season. So I'm going to say under on Glaber.
I hear you. I actually took the over. So for batting average, for the exact reason that you mentioned, I think he's going to benefit a lot from the shift going away. He hit so many balls right up the middle. How many times did he ground out on like a hard one hopper that landed 3 feet behind second base? I mean, for 100 years, that was a base hit, and that's exactly what they taught you to do. But he's been penalized for that. Seeing that you have to kind of keep guys on either side of the base, they still might be able to get to some of those balls, but some of them I don't think they're going to be able to. I think his confidence is building. I think he's approaching that contract year, and he knows that. And I think he's potentially playing for a $100 million contract in a couple of years. So I think he's going to have a big year, 280 plus if he's with the Yankees. And that's not a guarantee at this point that he's going to be here. But like you said, 25 home runs and solid D. All right, Frankie.
I have under. I'm with you on that one. IKF was the Yankees' primary shortstop last year for some reason. Over under 30 games started at shortstop for IKF.
I'm going to make this one short. Under. Here's the reason why it's under. Get your pen and pencil out and write it down. He's traded during spring training. There's no point to keep IKF. Got a little bit of salary there. Move him. He's easily tradable. Teams would want him. Unless Oswald Peraza just completely tanks, and I mean tanks, I believe he's going to be the Yankees starting shortstop. I don't think IKF has a spot in the team. I just don't. I think he's going to be traded.
Huh. I'd be interested to see if they trade him. I mean, there's got to be some teams that are interested. I'm definitely taking the under. I believe that when the Yankees say they want to give one of the kids a shot, they're telling the truth there. It's one of the few times they're telling the fans what they're really going to do. As far as IKF, I appreciate, the effort he made last year. He was always hustling. He was scrappy. He was at times a spark plug, but the man is not a good defensive shortstop. And we have two better ones that are essentially knocking on the door. So there's no excuse to ever put him at shortstop unless it's like an emergency situation. I contend that Peraza wins shortstop as well. I think Volpe takes over at either shortstop or at either a second base or a third base later on in the season. Both Volpe and Peraza are ready to be major league contributors this season, and I don't want them riding the bench. So one of them's going to go down to AAA and learn another position, and I think that's what's going to happen. But I think I'm in agreement with you that Volpe profiles better off a shortstop, right?
Yeah, definitely. Second base or third, one of the things I like this comparison a little bit. I don't mean as an overall player, but just an idea for fans. Alex Bregman came as a shortstop. Alex Bregman eventually had to move to third. So I don't know. Again, I don't think Anthony Volpe necessarily has the arm for third base. That's the problem with him at short is a lot of people just say he doesn't have that A+ arm. He did build off of it a little more. He got great range by all means. Great baseball IQ. I think him at second base. And I hope if all goes right for the Yankees, that middle infield for years and years to come could be Peraza and Volpe. I think it's fantastic. I think they have a chance to be really excellent up the middle for years and years to come.
Frankie Baseball. Who we got next? Oswald Peraza, it looks like.
I'm going to make a controversial statement. If there is a God, this will be under. If there is a God in heaven and he is a Yankees fan, this will be under. I cannot tolerate an over. I cannot tolerate any more up. I can't feel.
I agree.
Oswald Peraza's first full-time season with the Yankees this year, over under 20.5 home runs.
Under.
Ooh.
And let me explain, because everybody's going to get mad at Pete. I get it. Get mad at Pete. Maybe I'm like the Stephen A of this show. I don't know. All right?
No, they tell you.
I'm going to start
Let me
yelling.
explain!
Let me explain to you why I think that's the case.
So disrespectful.
I was about to do the Shannon Sharp one, so I go, let me tell you something, Skip.
Since when did you get so smart?
No. For me, I'm going under. Let me explain why. The cool thing about this coming year is the AL East probably has the potential to have a couple of Rookie of the Year candidates. You got Gunnar Henderson over there with the Baltimore Orioles. You got Oswald Peraza, potentially Anthony Volpe. We'll see what happens there. But if Oswald Peraza is a guy that hits over 20 homers immediately next year, I'm going to say right now, he probably is the Rookie of the Year. If he does that, he's probably the Rookie of the Year for the Yankees for multiple different reasons. One, he's extremely fast. People really underrate how fast this kid is. He's going to steal a lot of bases. If he hits over 20 homers, he's a 2020 guy in his first year in the major leagues. No question about it. With all that being said, he's great defensively. I've heard stories, again, talk to Ozzie Guillen about him. Ozzie Guillen knows his father well. He said when he was 15 years old in Venezuela with adults on the field, he was by far the best defensive shortstop, not even close. This kid's known for his glove, but the bat has came around a lot. And I just say under, almost in a way of just being safe, because this could still be a great player if he hits under 20 his first year. It's also his first year. He's also been a guy that every time he goes to a level, it takes him a little time to adjust. So I think there might be a little adjustment period there. 20 plus homers is still a lot. Would it shock me if he does it? Not at all, but I'm going to go ahead and go under here.
So I'm going to be the optimist on this one. I'm going with the over. I actually think he's got more power than people realize. He hit almost 30 home runs in the minor leagues a couple of times, and a lot of times you'll see guys develop more power as soon as they get to the major leagues because there's a number of factors. One, the bats are better, the lighting is better, the pitchers throw harder and throw more strikes, so the hitters have to supply less of the power. There's better scouting, there's better hitting simulations. They're using a lot of VR type stuff now. The coaching is better. The analysis of the launch angle is better. You see them out there with their batting practice every time. They've got the little iPad up showing their launch angle and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that if he wins the shortstop job and stays in the major leagues, I think he's a 25-25 guy as a rookie.
He's the Rookie of the Year then.
Gotta be. That would be beautiful.
It'd be amazing.
All right, Frankie, it's time to talk about a little DJ. Oh, no, wait, we got Volpe is next. Anthony Volpe.
Yeah. I have under on that too, although I have high hopes for Peraza. Also, shout out to Pete for just casually name dropping that he talked to Ozzie Guillen. Just like, I was talking to Ozzie
He was on his show for the whole year last year.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Love Ozzie. Over, under, this is the first year we are expecting for Anthony Volpe in the majors. Over, under 100 games played.
I'm going under on this one.
Under.
Yeah. That's it. I really don't have much else to be honest. I just don't have much else to say on that one. Nothing. Again, I think I can speak for everybody here. That's not a knock on Anthony Volpe. I just don't think the Yankees immediately give him a shot out the gate. I think he'll get that month or so. He may get even more than that if he struggled in AAA as he did in his time there last year. But I think it's really just up to Volpe. It's up to his performance, how much he's going to play. And I'll just say I don't think the Yankees give him enough time to do 100 games this year.
I'm in total agreement. I think he's going to get a couple of months. He's probably going to get the cold weather months at AAA, iron out some things, and then you get the benefit of the service time not accruing. I think we're going to see him, somewhere around Father's Day, maybe the 1st of summer, June 21st, something like that. And I think he's going to play in 80, 85 games, which is not a knock, but he'll get some time at the big league level. But I agree with you. I don't think he's going to see triple digits this year. But combined, if you factor in AAA, I think he'll go over 100. Next is DJ LeMahieu.
I'm under on Volpe too. DJ LeMahieu has hit under 270 in each of the last 2 seasons. Over under 270 for LeMahieu this year.
Over. And my Yankee fandom is the reason why I am saying this. I have to go over because if the Yankees are doing anything this year, they need that man right there to be DJ LeMahieu. And again, when I say he has to hit over 270, I'm not saying he got to hit 324. I'm saying if he hits 280, I'm happy. I said that last year. If LeMahieu's a 280-plus guy, I'm very, very happy. The Yankees desperately need that table setter again. I don't want to see LeMahieu 6th, 7th, 5th, 2, 1, wherever you put him. I need that man being the guy that gets on base for Judge and the boppers. That's where I need to see him. That's it.
100% agree. I'm also taking the over. Look, I don't think the shift really affected him that much. I think it was all health. If you look at what he was doing when he hurt his toe, he was hitting around 290, something like that. And I think that he's going to be at about that level this year. However, I don't think he's the DJ LeMahieu anymore that they can count on to play 130, 140 games.
I agree.
I think, he's broken down the last couple of years. I want to let him play 4 days a week instead of 5 or 6. Give him a Tuesday, a Saturday, maybe a Sunday. Give him a couple of days off in a row. Give him 3 out of 4 days off just to let him kind of, stay off his feet a little bit. Be available as a pinch hitter late in the game if you need some contact. But I don't need him breaking down next year. All right, Frankie, who else we got?
I have over as well. Josh Donaldson hit 15 home runs last season. Over under 15 home runs for Donaldson. 2023, and Pete is in pain.
God, why do we got to talk about him for? I'm going to go ahead and say under. I so desperately want to say over, and I'm going to tell you why. If he's playing a full year, I think it is over. I don't expect him to play as much unless he proves himself. And I think if DJ LeMahieu's healthy, he's the third baseman. Unless all of a sudden spring training, everything gets flipped over on its head and Glaber's traded and there's a whole mess going on and the Yankees change some things up. I just don't see it. I mean, Donaldson got the glove. We understand that. He could really be a guy the Yankees just bite the bullet and go, you know what? At the end of the day, let's go ahead and let him get some late inning defense. That we'll plug him in there every now and then. Maybe he pinch hits, depending on who the left fielder could be. You got some spots there, maybe. I'm just going under. If he hits over 15, who I don't know.
I'm also taking the under. I still think they're going to try and move him. And frankly, I don't see him getting enough playing time to hit 15 home runs. We've seen this happen with a number of people in the past where, they kind of bank on them having a bounce back year and it just doesn't happen. I think this is just another case of that. A guy circling the drain with his career, and we're going to watch him go flush this year. At this point, I think he's clearly a guest hitter. And that's strictly because his reaction time isn't what it used to be. He's 36, 37 years old. That's why you see him taking fastballs right down the middle and swinging it trash in the dirt because he can't react to it, right? He's got to guess, and he's guessing wrong too much. He's trying to guess the roulette numbers at the casino, and it's not working to the tune of a 222 average. Now, he's still got the exit velocity when he makes contact, but if somebody came on my show last year and said, what's the exit velocity on the balls you take that are right down the middle? And I thought that was the best comment that I had heard on the Josh Donaldson subject. So we're going to go ahead and take the under on Donaldson. All right, we got a two-parter here on Mr. Giancarlo Stanton. Go ahead, Frankie.
I have the under 2 on Donaldson, although I do have Donaldson on the over on the number of times that he will pimp out a ball that lands at the track.
You need to shut the up.
Next question.
Giancarlo Stanton hit 31 home runs in 110 games played last season. Over under on both 31 home runs and 110 games played.
I'm going over and then under.
So
there it is. Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
weird, man. I had a glass of whiskey before we started, and I was worried I was going to mess that one up. There's another one when the pitchers go, it reverses. It reverses because if you're under, it's like golf. The lower your ERA, the better. Right. So I got to play the happy noise if we're under. So I'm all messed up.
You're all confused.
So you're saying over 31 home runs and under on the games played.
The thing about Stanton is at this point in his career, you can't expect many games from him, to be honest. I mean, he is a guy who playing the outfield of Miami all those years killed his legs. His knees are a mess. I mean, there's no denying that the guy's knees are a mess. And for me, it almost seems like you can't even really protect him by DHing him. He's still getting banged up somehow. So I'll go out there, like I said, over on the 31 because the guy's power is insanely stupid. I mean, here's a guy who can hit little routine pop-ups to right field that home runs. And again, he could play 95 games and do that. He could play 102 games and do it. So I'm gonna rely on his power, but I'm gonna not rely on how durable he's gonna be.
Yeah, so I took over on both. So Aaron Boone said something last season that stuck with me, and this is one of those little things that you hear in the room that it just resonates because there's something different about it. They said that, Giancarlo had never really played hurt before. He got hurt a lot, but he never really tried to play through things. And when he came back, he wasn't 100%. And they sat him down and they had a talk with him. And they said, look, you're in your 30s now. You're probably not going to be 100% very often for the next 6 or 7 years. We're going to run you out there and let you learn how to play hurt. And he was just starting to get his swing together when the playoffs began. And I thought he swung the bat pretty well in the postseason. And I think he's going to be less likely to go down with the little bits of soreness and stuff like that. And as much as they like to preach that they're going to put him in the outfield, I just don't see him putting him out there in the outfield very much next season. At this point, he's Nelson Cruz. He's got to just get in there and mash the baseball. So I'm taking over. I think he's going to probably play 115 games, probably hit 33, 34 home runs. That'd be my prediction. Dongs. All right, Frankie Baseball. Who's next?
I have over on both as well. Harrison Bader's career high in WAR is 3.9. Over under 4 WAR for Bader in 2023.
Over. I am going and taking the over on Harrison Bader. Of course, last year at 1.1 WAR, the injuries really beat him up. He didn't have the same type of offensive year. Not that he's some unbelievable offensive player, but there's a couple of things there. One, his defense is phenomenal. He's arguably, if not the best defensive center fielder in Major League Baseball. We saw that. We saw this guy takes routes on balls that you would think he's running to catch, and he's just underneath it, waiting for it. So he's a phenomenal reader off the bat, takes amazing routes. So the WAR is going to be benefited by his defense. But here's another thing, too, that I think we started to see in the postseason. We started to see him drop his hands a little more. And what that does is it allows you to get a better launch angle on the ball. You get underneath it and start lifting a little more. The Yankees like to do that with players. I think you're going to see more homers, maybe even more doubles from Bader that you've ever seen. The big thing for him is going to be when it comes to WAR is how much is he on the field? Is he going to be healthy all year? If Harrison Bader is healthy all season, a 4 WAR is nothing. He'll fly by that.
I got to say, I'm in 100% agreement. I think he's a lot better player than people realized, myself included, in that category. The first time I heard his name was actually when you were talking about him after that Sunday night game, and I didn't watch the game, so I went back and watched the footage. And you said this guy would be perfect for center field. And I was like, let me check him out. But I didn't think at the time that the Cardinals would deal him. I was surprised when they did, and I loved Monty, but, they have successfully won me over. Bader was tremendous. Frankie, are you taking the over or under?
I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over on Bader this year. I think he's going to be really good.
All right. So we're all in agreement. And that leaves one big man left on offense, Mr. Aaron Judge.
So I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs last year. Over under 55 home runs for the new captain of the New York Yankees.
Under. So I'm taking under here just because it's really friggin' hard to do. Okay? This is not a tough one in my opinion. Look, is it possible that Aaron Judge hits close to 60 again? Is it possible he hits over 60 again? Yeah, of course. He's just that type of guy. But we haven't seen that really since the steroid era. Guys going back-to-back 60-plus home run seasons. The closest to 60 was his teammate, Giancarlo Stanton, back before he became a Yankee. So to see him do 55-plus, I don't know. Does he hit 50? Maybe. But I got him more in the 48 to 52 range, which is still a phenomenal, probably MVP season. But I'll go ahead and say under on that.
Oh, well, allow me to retort.
I'm saying over. I am taking the over.
Ooh. Wow.
I think he actually might beat 62.
I hope.
Look, remember, he got off to a slow start last year, and then he struggled down the stretch. He's trying to shut a lot of mouths that said that he had a terrible postseason, and I think he's going all in for a championship. That means hard work during the offseason. That means showing up to camp ready to bash. I would not be surprised if he ends up with 65 or 66 home runs this year. Would not shock me at all. All right, so we're going to move on to the pitching. We're going to move on to the pitching. Frankie, what you got for Judge, over under?
I would love it if, Derek, you were right that he would go past 55 over to 62, but I have under. I think under 50, just barely under 50. Sorry. So, Garrett Cole had a 3.5 ERA last year. Over under 3.5 ERA for Cole this season.
Man, oh man. I'm going under.
I got it right, Frankie. Hey.
Well done. Good job, Derek.
Hey,
yeah, there it is.
Who needs to be on the special school bus now?
You know what it is? You know what that means? You just need another glass of whiskey. That's all that means. for me, the funny thing about Garrett Cole is last offseason before the season started, I said literally he's going to have over a 3.50 ERA. I said 3.5 is his ERA. I was very concerned about Garrett Cole when it came to the whole spider tack stuff and all that. I really do think it affected him a bit. Look, I know the K numbers look great, but we've never seen the guy from Houston. That guy from Houston is a phenom, is phenomenal. One of the best pitchers you'll ever see from what he did those years. Here's the reason why I'm giving him the under. I love, and I've been begging for the Yankees to have a 1-2 punch because I feel like they really play off each other. Garrett Cole was brought here to be the ace. He has not won as the ace of the Yankees. If Carlos Rodon comes here and takes over, let me tell you guys this right now. After his first 5 or 6 or 7 starts of dominating, he's the man in New York. He'll be the man in New York like that. Oh! And I think...
I'll put that heat on him, and he didn't want to continue.
There it is. He's not going to continue after this one, okay? I think it's going to light a fire under the tushy a little bit. And I think Cole's going to go out there looking to deal all season and knowing that he has a little friendly rivalry there in the Yankees to see who the real ace of the club is.
Yeah, I also took the under. So that means I got to take the over button. Okay, we made it. We made it through the gauntlet, Frankie.
Well done. So proud of you, Derek.
I know, right? So, look, he just needs to keep the ball out in the middle of the plate. His fastball is still there. He's got some of the best breaking stuff in baseball. You don't strike out that many people without being an excellent pitcher. You just need to keep the ball out in the middle of the plate. He throws too hard that if you throw it over the middle of the plate, like we said before, the hitter doesn't have to supply as much power. So he just had too many blow-up starts. He needs to be more deliberate with men on base. And especially when you're facing like the big guy who can't beat you. You know, the Rafael Devers. Do you remember how he faced Rafael Devers like the second or third time? Like he had gotten bombed by him a couple of times.
Yep.
And then the next time he came out and he brushed him back and he shut him down. That was a different Garrett Cole. That's the mentality I want him to have every time, right? There's no reason to just break that out once in a while after a guy has took you to the woodshed a couple of times. That's what Roger Clemens would bring to the table every day.
I was just going to say it. I was literally just going to say it.
If you look too comfortable, he'll buzz you. And that's, hey, look, that's baseball.
When you got that fastball, the last thing you should do is allow guys not to fear you up there. You should have that little intimidation factor. That's why I love Carlos Rodon. He brings that.
Correct.
So I agree with you 100%. I hope that, he maybe builds off that a little bit or recognizes that. Or maybe it rubs off on him with Rodon being here.
Yeah. Speaking of Rodon, he is the next person on our list. And I'm trying to update the highlights in real time, but I'm operating a lot of levers and gadgets in a series of tubes over here. And so it's I'm a little behind from time to time, but we do have Rodon. So Frankie, take us away. What's the over-under for Carlos Rodon?
First of all, by the way, I'm under for Cole. Carlos Rodon had an ERA of 2.88 with the Giants last season. Over under 2.88 in his first full season with the Bronx Bombers.
I gotta go under. I'm going under. Look, man, I know Carlos Rodon, a lefty in Yankee Stadium that throws hard is everything. We know CC Sabathia did it, but I'll tell you this right now. People are probably going to think I'm nuts. This is a better pitcher than CC Sabathia when he's healthy. And I think a lot of people might really think that is absolutely crazy. But I truly believe when this guy is healthy, you don't have many more dominating starting pitchers in baseball than him. He's a lefty. He challenges you with the fastball. As my friend Hurst said right there, he's a New York kind of guy. He has that mentality that Derek just spoke about, that I'll brush you off the plate. Let's see you hit me. He's the type of guy that will go into Houston, hopefully dominate them, and go to the crowd and say, come on, get loud. Why do you guys so quiet for?
Yeah.
Step it up. Come on, get up there. He already doesn't like Houston. So the big thing with Carlos Rodon is stay healthy, would you? Stay healthy, because I got a Carlos Rodon call this year that I want to use a lot. So we need those Ks to go and go and go and go. And I'm really excited to be able to watch this guy, and even more so get to call his games when he pitches.
So great thing about Rodon, he went to high school and college kind of right near me, so I got to see his number on one of the fields I used to practice on, just hanging on the outfield. I've always liked him. I've always followed his career. I do think he's going to have an ERA slightly higher this year than the 3.0 or 2 point whatever it was. So there we go. And not much higher, but my issue with a hard throwing lefty in Yankee Stadium is he might get porched a couple of times until he learns how to pitch there consistently. Would not shock me if early in the season he gives up a big 3-run home run, here or there, just because, when you throw hard and you're pitching away to righties, they don't have to catch up with it. They can just kind of, stay with it and take you over the short porch. So I do anticipate he's going to have a slight adjustment period, but like you always say, the guy just doesn't allow hits. And he had 237 strikeouts, I think, in 178 innings. Yep. You combine that with Cole, you got Johnson Schilling level strikeout numbers there, almost. And here's
one more thing real quick, if I can, with Carlos Rodon is the other thing too is he doesn't give up home runs. So he's not like that Robbie Ray Cole type that if they throw that fastball over the plate, guys usually hit it out. This is a guy that pitched to Chicago and wasn't giving home runs up. So I hope that just carries over with the Yankees. And if it does, being a lefty, it's even better. He could have a phenomenal year. We'll see.
Nestor Cortez we got next. Frankie, what we got on Nestor?
Slightly over. I agree with Derek on Rodon's ERA. Slightly above 2.88. Nestor Cortez has had back-to-back seasons with a sub-3 ERA. Will he make it 3 in a row? Over, under 3 ERA for Nestor.
Over.
Oh, did I messed it up? I didn't make it through the gauntlet. There we go.
Oh, he almost
perfect game is over.
He almost. You know what that means? That just means that was just in realness. He's gonna have under a 3 probably. It's probably you just really answered. So I'll say the over on the 3 ERA, but I'll tell you this right now. I think he's gonna be around like the 330s, 336. Maybe I think he's under the 350 mark. Put it that way. I think he's a very, very good pitcher. I think a lot of people underrated him, including myself. 100% I underrated Nestor Cortez. Didn't think he would do this. My only concern is towards the end of the season, right-handed hitters started to wait on his cutter. Yep. And they were blasting it out everywhere. I mean, they were smacking the ball around. He did make adjustments sometimes mid-games and got through 6 innings or so. I think he's a mid-rotation starter and a very good one. So I'll say his ERA is under 350, which I think anybody would take.
Yeah. I think it's going to be over 3. And for one of the reasons that you mentioned, the hitters did make adjustments. He's not fooling people as much. I do think that he's going to have a nice season. I think he's going to have probably about a 3.5 ERA. I think he'll probably give us more innings this year because he's built up a little bit. And I don't think he's going to have the kind of arm trouble that smaller guys typically have because he's not a hard thrower, right? He's a crafty. He's like a Ted Lilly type. Those crafty lefties that last a long time. A Kenny Rogers, even though Rogers was horrible here, but that type of pitcher where you just kind of pick your spots and cut and take speeds on and off. I think he's that type of pitcher, and I think he's going to have a good year. But again, nobody has a 2.5 ERA every year, and I just think he's due for an adjustment by the league. One thing I would like to see Nestor try and do this year is maybe add in another pitch. Maybe consider, a nice 12-6 curveball or something like that. Maybe add in a little split finger or something like that. Just something to change things up. You don't have to throw it very often. It doesn't even have to be a very good pitch. Just something to kind of mix things up a little bit. Something that's kind of a swing and miss pitch.
Yep.
All right, Frankie, what we got next?
I agree with you guys. I think the magic carpet ride will end for Nestor. He'll still be good this year, but I think he'll be over. And last one, the Yankees won 99 games last season. Over under 99.5 wins. Will the Yankees get to triple digits? Pete.
I'm going over.
Ooh.
I'm going
Not
over,
expected.
believe it or not. Here's why. Here's why I'm going over. They play everybody. They got a ton of games against bad teams.
It's fair.
And if this team's, and that's the only reason I'm going on is based off schedule. I think if the schedule was the same as last year, I'd say under. I'm going over this year because I think this team has a chance to beat up on a lot of bad clubs. Very much so. And look, are they the team that the Yankees were in the first half of last year? I don't think that team was that team. I think they played way over their head. I said it the whole way through. Second half, I don't think they were that bad. But last year was like a best of both worlds and a worst of the bottom of the barrel is what we kind of saw. We didn't really see that middle of what they really are. I think this year they're going to be a little more consistent. I think the rule changes do help them. And I think as long as everybody stays healthy to a T, which is not easy, I think they have a chance of over 100 wins.
I'm going to take the under, just barely. Before we get to that, I want to apologize to Pete. I had Yankees Avenue up for his logo. Dan was on last week. I forgot to swap out the logos, but we got Pete's logo up there now. He is with NYY News TV. Let's hear it for Pete. So
hello.
I think they're about a 97, 98 win team. But you do have me rethinking it because I didn't factor in when I was putting that together. I'm so used to the unbalanced schedule and the tough division that I really didn't factor in that. So maybe, maybe I'm going to get myself on the fence. It's my show. What the hell? All right, Pete, there is something that I wanted to talk to you specifically about. You've been recommending a couple of different guys, and we're going to go to the screen share here. So we're going to take a look at two players. We've got Brian Reynolds, and we've got Max Kepler. We're going to start with Max Kepler. This is somebody that you've recommended a lot. Mm-hmm. So, I dug into his StatCast numbers a little bit, and I was a little bit confused. His traditional numbers don't match up with his StatCast numbers. You look at all the red in the StatCast, you think this guy's a beast, an animal, but then you see 227, 666 OPS. How would you explain that?
Well, you really do see a guy on two different things. One, you see a guy that was really affected by a shift. He's a guy who does pull the ball more. I think he pulls the ball about 40+% of the time as he's going to right field. But he's also a guy that when he puts the ball in play, he's hitting the ball hard. Well, no, he's not hitting the ball as hard as you would want him to. I think it also really depends on the type of lineup he's in. I think that makes a major difference. He's a guy that the Twins were expecting to have some pretty solid numbers. There was a year, if you guys remember, people were saying this guy's better than Aaron Judge. That was a common thing that we were hearing on Twitter and everywhere else. This guy's so good, he's better than Judge. Here's the reason why I was so big on him being a Yankee. The strikeout numbers are phenomenal. He's one of the elite guys who do not strike out. You put him in that lineup with phenomenal defense, one, and then a guy that's going to get more pitches to hit, being surrounded by better players. I think he'd reach somewhat of his potential. And by all means, does that mean he's a 250, 260, 270 guy with 30+ homers? I don't know. I don't necessarily think that. But I do believe what you're seeing is a guy that is truly being affected by the shift, and he hasn't really adjusted his game. Yeah. He doesn't strike out, doesn't hit the ball extremely hard, but I really believe he's a guy that if you put him in the Yankee lineup, you got some more protection around him, he's going to do a lot more damage than expected.
Yeah, I could see that. I like his swing, just watching these highlights. I like his compact hands. He doesn't have a lot of hand movement, pretty balanced, hits the ball to all parts of the field. From what we saw, he's a good defender, got a good arm. That type of hit right there is perfect for Yankee Stadium. He might be one of those guys who's kind of like Gio Urshela, kind of like Luke Voigt, where he's one tweak in terms of like his launch angle or, like Bader, you said, with the hands. One tweak away from, putting up better numbers, given a better launch angle. I also want to talk to you about Brian Reynolds. So we pulled up his StatCast numbers too. Now, Reynolds is one of those guys that you've been hearing about for years. We've both advocated for the Yankees trading for him in the past. I've kind of softened on that as some of our prospects have gotten closer, and I've become more encouraged by the likes of Jason Dominguez, Anthony Volpe. So I want to ask it to you this way: is there any one prospect that you wouldn't trade straight up for Brian Reynolds?
I wouldn't trade Volpe for him. I would do. Yes, I would trade Dominguez for him, no doubt about it. 100%, I would trade Dominguez for him. And it's funny because, and I'm not putting a lot of credit on MLB.com's prospect scouting report, but the most recent prospect scouting report is up for Jason Dominguez, and it's kind of funny because they basically say he'll be Brian Reynolds, is what they think his outcome will be. A 260 hitter, 27 to 30 homers. Well, that's kind of what you'll get from Brian Reynolds. My thing is, again, this goes back, and I'm going to forget about the idea of a trade and why I would necessarily do it, but just talk about the player for a second. Brian Reynolds is a guy that I just think fits the Yankees so well. We kind of saw him kind of show off a little bit at Yankee Stadium when he came to town. He was like, I'm going to show off a little bit. He looked phenomenal. But Brian Reynolds is a guy, if you look at the numbers on the screen, he strikes out a little bit too much. But here's the reason why I believe that's happening. He's the man in Pittsburgh. You put this guy right in front of a guy like Aaron Judge. Think about that. LeMahieu, Reynolds, Judge. That is something that you would be very, very happy about. Here's a guy who is going to steal bags. He's probably going to steal more bags this year. Plays a decent center field, not great. Do think he'd be a better left fielder long term. And I think that's probably one of the best outfields the Yankees would ever have if you had those three guys out there, especially defensively. But I just think you put him in a lineup like the Yankees, again, it just makes a difference for his overall numbers. I don't know how much the shift affected him because he's a spray guy. If you look on the screen again there on Baseball Savant, he hits the ball everywhere. So he's like one of those guys that like 30, 30, 30. He hits the ball all over the place. So that makes him good. His average exit velocity is also strong. So you're also seeing a guy, again, that when he is putting the ball in play and he's hitting his pitch, he's hitting it well. I just don't think he's getting as much pitches to hit in Pittsburgh. So I think that would make him better with the Yankees.
Excellent insight. Frankie, are you a Reynolds guy? Do you want the Yankees to go out and get him?
Anyone other than Hicks. That's my thought now. Well, it's been what? It's been 40 minutes in? It's been 40 minutes in, and this is the first Aaron Hicks reference. So
yeah, we didn't even bother doing it.
That's a good thing. That's a good
thing. Bother doing an over-under for him. All right,
so I would have loved for like an over-under on the number of times Hicks would ground into a double play this year.
How many times does he stare at the ball until he gets pulled from the game?
God.
Sent packing. All right, so we got something special for you guys real quick. We're going to get to voicemails, but first I want to introduce something fun that Pete and Frankie and I are going to be working on all season long. If you have enjoyed this trio, tune in after the post game every Friday all season long. Also, the first 2 weeks of the season, there's no game on Friday for some reason, but we will be live to talk about the ongoings in Yankees universe that week. I present to you NYYPD. And just in case you want more of Derek and Pete, they're going to be doing the Designated Spitters over on Pete's channel, NYY News TV, all season long and wherever you get podcasts. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about this. We got the hats. You can get the hats in the merch store. We've all switched to the hats. Not selling the aviators. That's only if you're on the show, but feel free to wear them at home. So Friday nights, actually, we're going to start on a Thursday night because opening day is Thursday. Pete's got an event. And Pete, I want to let you talk about your event in just a moment. But we're going to have the opening NYYPD a few hours after game time. I believe it's an afternoon game on opening day. I'll do the post game, and then later on that night we'll get together and we'll have a fun little thing. Now, NYYPD is going to be a lot of audience interaction. We're going to have a lot of voicemail, so call in all week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a party type of vibe. We're going to recap all the stuff that goes on throughout the week. But first, let me hear about your event that you got coming up, Pete.
Yes, sir. So April 1st, it could be Carlos Rodon's first start. I don't want to make it a big deal because you never know what happens. But we have I always get the word wrong. What is it? Any Audi box? Is that correct? Audi?
Audi.
Is that how you say it? Audi.
Yeah.
Audi. Okay, guys. We got the Audi Club, all right? So tickets are going really quick. We originally had 100. We ran out the 100 already. They bumped us up to about 140, maybe 150. Oh, so if you got to definitely be there, no doubt about it, guys. Here's the cool thing. You could enter the stadium with all of us 90 minutes before the game. 5-star dining. That is all included. Show up, show out. Let's have a great time. Let's cheer our Yankees on. And I just think it's a great way to start the season. Game season live. We'll kick it off, and then we're going there. So really, really cool. I'm excited about it.
Oh! I put that heat on him, and he didn't want to continue.
I love that so much. By the way, too, real quickly, the next day is a 1:00 game, and we're actually doing game season live at Gramercy Ale House in Lower Manhattan. So that's gonna be fun.
Sick. That'll be fun. I'm gonna stick to doing my recaps right here in my studio because I don't like to leave the house. I'm one of those people. Look. No matter how much I like something, it's tough for me to get I'll leave the house like 3 times a month. I'll go to see a movie. I go pick up a pizza once in a while, but I'm one of these creatures. I like to be in my creature comforts. I'm just constantly, I got like 4 or 5 different screens and I'm constantly working and I got all these different like check boxes. And to me, that's like my happy place. And if I have to drive somewhere or go be out of the house, I start to get, I start to get like this. And so, I just like to stay home, have my Jack Daniel's apple whiskey. That's what I'm saying.
A little apple whiskey, all right.
All right, so Frankie, we're gonna do some voicemails here, but before we get started with the voicemails, tell us about your content this year that you create.
So subscribe to Frankie Baseball's my channel every day during spring training, and then of course regular season and postseason. Daily recaps about the Yankees. Little like 5-6 minute videos where I'm just talking about the team and occasional joke or two. And then all season I'll be working with Derek. I'll be doing the highlights that you see in the top right corner. I'll be working on those all season long. And it's been so great working with Derek for the last year. He's been a great friend. I'm not just saying this because he's my boss, but he's been a great friend and a great mentor. Oh, come on! I'm trying to get to some praise here.
Let's not start sucking each other's dicks just yet. We got 6 months to go here.
Look, Derek, I like you, but not that much.
Hey, struck him out.
Hey! All right, let's go to the first voicemail. Pete, I'm going to have you have the first crack at the voicemail for this one.
Hey, this is Chris McCauley. Very pumped about the 23 season. But where do we put DJ?
All right, cool. Chris, thank you for the voicemail. DJ LeMahieu, I think at the end of the day, look, as long as he's healthy, I think he's the third baseman. I think he's the third baseman out the gate. We already saw some early footage, and he just so happened to be at third base when we saw him. And all the rumors right now and all the conversations that he's healthy. If DJ LeMahieu's healthy, I don't know how. Okay, let's put it like this. If everybody's healthy going into the opening day, I don't know how DJ LeMahieu's not your starting third baseman.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Like we said, we're going to have to cut back on the playing time a little bit just to keep him healthy. But if he's healthy on opening day, he's starting. Last year, it was he played second base and Gleyber Torres sat, and Donaldson played third base. Donaldson actually won the game on opening day with a hit. I don't think history is going to repeat itself. I'm not even convinced he's going to be on the team on opening day. But DJ starting third. This next question, I believe, is about Giancarlo Stanton.
Hey, Derek, this is Harrison. I was wondering how many games you think Giancarlo Stanton will start in the outfield this season. Last year, he only started 38 games in right. He didn't even start any after July.
I would say definitely less. I know that the Yankees keep saying they want to run him out there, but the problem is you keep running him out there and he gets hurt. I mean, you keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. I mean, that's called testing, right? I mean, that's you're getting repeated results here. I want him to stay in the DH spot for the next 5 years, and I want him to just focus on mashing. I want them to say, hey, look, Nelson Cruz has been playing until he's 40, for a reason, because he's a big, strong dude who gets in there and smashes home runs, and that's what we want you to do. And that's exactly the way I go. What do you think? You think he's going to play the outfield much here, Pete?
I'm going to say 27 games minimum. I don't think he goes over that. It might be less than that too, to be honest, but definitely less than what he did last year. I don't see him doing it.
Yeah. This one, I think, Pete, you had a comment on this earlier.
Yeah, it's Bob from Ohio, huge Yankee fan. Wondering if you think Gleyber Torres will be traded sometime this year.
Gleyber Torres.
This is interesting, man. I just feel like if you were going to trade Gleyber Torres, it should have been during the actual offseason. Just because here's the way I see it. Even if Gleyber has another 2 good years with the Yankees, I don't see the Yankees re-signing them with all the young guys they have, unless they all of a sudden just say, hey, Volpe's going to be traded, Peraza's going to be traded, which I don't see happening. Those guys got to, especially Volpe, he's going to get all the chances in the world to be somewhere on this team. And I have enough confidence in Oswald Peraza that I think he's going to make an impact. So for me, I will go ahead and say I don't think he's going to be traded this year. Is there a possibility, as Derek brought up, that maybe Volpe's up around Father's Day, maybe a little later, and he's phenomenal? And if that's the case, he starts pushing that door. Maybe the Yankees say, look, maybe Gleyber's struggling a little bit, and then he will be out come the All-Star game around that time of the trade deadline. But if I had to make a prediction right now if he's going to be traded or not, I'm going to say no. Not this year.
I think it's more likely to happen next offseason. You know, when we've got Volpe and Peraza both fully ready. You know, at that point, Trey Sweeney's even in the mix. You know, he's apparently made the switch to third base. They announced recently that he's going to switch over to third base. He's a top prospect shortstop. A lot of guys get drafted as a shortstop and then shift over. And he's got that Robin Ventura left-handed sweet swing from the third base, position. I think that's history repeating itself, and I can't wait to see it.
They've also adjusted his swing too. He made a lot of changes to his swing this year, and a lot of people think he's going to make a major impact.
I can't wait. So Frank Sinatra, when he would want to leave a party or it was time to leave a party, he would tell his entourage, I think it's going to rain. It looks like it's going to rain. And so that would be his polite way of saying, hey, we got to wrap it up here. My polite way is when you hear this noise this season, that means we're getting ready to wind it up.
Game over, man. It's game over. I gotta get out of here.
That's a Rizzo.
It is. I was going to sing Fly Me to the Moon when he said Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon.
Most impressive.
Ladies and gentlemen, check out the new and improved store. I'll see you next time.
Hello there. If you're enjoying NYY Recaps, please consider supporting the channel in one of the following ways.
Join us.
Level 1. Like and subscribe to the channel. It helps it grow so that other Yankee fans can find it.
I have you
You can
now.
also subscribe on all of your favorite podcast platforms. We're part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network.
Good
Level
work.
2. Consider purchasing something from the official merchandise store. There's a link in the description. But if you're listening, you can just go to NYYRecaps.shop from your browser or search for NYY Recaps on Shopify.
force is
We've
strong.
got tons of designs, hats, t-shirts, coasters, and posters, but sorry, absolutely no toasters. And level 3, you can join as a member, and every night your name will be up in lights on the screen as a special thank you.
Most impressive.
You're how we keep this channel going. Thanks so much. And tune in again soon for more of the highest production value Yankees content anywhere in the known universe.
It is your destiny.
Case closed.